Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever geography you are in. And welcome to Educational Voyage of Famous Edu Leaders on Edu TV, where we bring you stories of passion, perseverance, and transformation from the finest leaders in the field of education. Today, we have the privilege of speaking with a trailblazer who has not only led but founded an institution of excellence, Dr. Sharma, the famous Dr. Namita Sharma, the founder principal of Queen's Valley School, Dwarka, New Delhi, India. Dr. Sharma's journey is a testament of her vision, determination, and unwavering commitment to education. Under her guidance, Queen's Valley School has grown into a hub of innovation and holistic development, where students are nurtured to become future ready leaders. Dr. Sharma, it's truly an honor to have you with us alive today. Your story is bound to inspire educators and learners alike. Let's delve into your remarkable journey and the legacy you continue to build. Ma'am, my first question is, as your leadership reflects a blend of tradition and modernity, how have you incorporated innovative practices and 21st century learning tools into schools ecosystem while maintaining its core values? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pranav, for inviting me. And I'm humbled by the words that you've used. It's been a journey wherein I have always been very proud of my roots of being an Indian and have been brought up by a set of parents who have been into the defense services. My mother was a professor. My father was a naval officer. So, but they've always maintained that for me. And luckily, I've always had a set of teachers who've groomed me that way. And hence, when you're proud of what you are and proud of all your mentors, let it be your parents, let it be your teachers, you turn out to be a personality or maybe to an individual who wants the same to be transferred to the next generation. And again, when you have a good set of teachers, you always, I learned it somewhere late in life that it was whatever I have become or whatever I will impart or give to my society further is what my teachers beautifully taught me and took me through.
Wow.
So I always have that in mind that I have to do the same for my next generation because it is a legacy which has been passed on through me. I am just a medium through which it would go to the next generation. So keeping that in mind, intention has always been to raise a generation or prepare a future legacy of citizens wherein inclusivity becomes a part of the entire system. And when I speak of inclusivity, it is not just inclusivity of the children with CWSN category, but also people from all walks of life and all things together, our roots and modernity. Our roots are modern. If we look at the kind of research which is happening, so why not take both the things in a balanced way to the next generation? So keeping that in mind, ethics are maintained, the ethos moves like that. The intention is to create holistic personalities for the world outside today. That is the world in which our children would go next. And also maintain the different human values as the 21st century skills speak of empathy, speak of sympathy. So hence, intention is not to create a robo who is equipped with around 98 or 99% of marks and only study, study, study. Rather a holistic personality, a beautiful citizen and a positive person for the next society who's going to create a society in which we are going to, as the next generation, continue. So that speaks of sustainability and then I speak of sustainability for my children. Sustainability has been there in our roots. I remember my grandmother, I remember my parents. It wasn't because of lack of resources or so, But the basic practices that we've had in our households are not use and throw. That is the European pattern. Even if it was a pen, we always used an ink pen, which continued for classes together. My first board exam I gave with a pen with which my mother gave all her exams. So that was a sustainable practice. Today, what we do and what we are doing, the market is doing is in under capitalism, buy a pen, use it. Once the refill is done, throw it. So when I speak of sustainability, it is through the roots that we become sustainable and pick up the modernity of AI, of technology. We all are, all my teachers are equipped with ChatGPT. They know how to use it. My children know how to use it, but I also simultaneously teach them balance. You are not killing your own creativity with ChatGPT. You will create variety with it, but the base and the foundations I have to give. So 21st century skills move with a balance.
In fact, you took me down the memory lane. When I was sixth or seventh, a watch was kept at my house. It must be my father's watch. He said, when you go for your ICSE examination in class 10, that day you start wearing it so you can see the time while writing your papers.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And blending sustainability in everything, ma'am, I think I'm impressed with the way you're doing things. Ma'am, now I'd like to ask one more question. Ma'am, could you share the challenges you faced during the early years and how you overcame them to establish the school's identity?
See, the challenges basically faced are children have adjustment problems. Children come from all sorts of families, and the kind of variety that you have in your classroom and the basic unrest and pampering and the kind of because see we all are in most of the families, the children who come to me, most of the children come from families where money is not a limitation. So they are getting their resources in abundance, and pampering is par excellence. Most of the parents nowadays have either a single child,
Yes.
or and then sadly in our country, or rather internationally, the problem exists that for teachers a training is available, but for parenthood there is no training.
Very right.
So because of that, what happens is every child is an experimental child for the parent. So the challenge is with us to not just counsel the child, but also counsel the parent.
Right.
Then there's the generation which we are handling today is the transformational generation, wherein transformation in the entire pedagogy is coming up. And then with NEP, it goes even a step ahead. And the worst thing is that the parents are not aware of that transformation and the change which is there. So they have objections. They do not have that trust and faith in the new system because they have not read through that. So when I teach my child a specific thing in a specific way, when I say it is only play way, when I say that through stories, I am going to take my pedagogy ahead, till a specific class, at least in the primary school, we very strongly believe that we can teach our children through playing. We can teach our children through dancing around, through theater, through enactment, and they live up to that. Why do I need to teach my children a specific, say, for example, when I was a child, or maybe most of the parents were children, we were taught active and passive voice or narration. We used to write sentences, convert them. But today you don't need to teach these basic things to a child. What I do in my class is I have a small role play. I come on stage, one by one children come on stage, pick up a mic, stand on the podium and say that I am a girl. And the children report, she is a girl. So it is through normal conversation in the classroom that we teach them how to narrate and how to be a part of that. So the things have changed. Then when we were taught English, because it's a foreign language and it is a global language, and any language that you need to teach, specific emphasis, and there are ways of modern times, and again a blend of Montessori system and the old traditional Indian system, which is custom made for our community, our students coming from different language groups.
Right.
So my teachers are equipped with small words. If supposing you are a Bengali and I am a Punjabi, so my teacher is equipped with, she first identifies her class,
Wow.
sees the challenges, she picks up those basic words so that the child becomes friendly and is not lost. Long back, I had a child who was a Bengali child and didn't know any language other than Bengali.
Okay.
So luckily, I had a maid in my school, helper and a caretaker who was Bengali. I had to bring her into the class. Because
Okay.
the child would cry. She couldn't understand what the teacher was saying. The teacher couldn't understand what she is saying.
Child thing.
Then we made it a point that we learn. I will first identify that I have children from 5 languages in my class.
Good.
I would pick up a basic set of sentences and then connect with the child and bring the child into my system. So these are certain challenges which we face.
I think
at the
awesome,
basic.
ma'am. I'm really impressed, very much again impressed, ma'am. The way you are teaching, the way you are training your teachers also, ma'am.
We have a period called a silence period.
Science
Today,
period.
the silence period.
Silence period. Okay.
So what happens is our another basic challenge is most of the children are very fickle. They do not know how to sit, be still. They will keep speaking anytime, they will eat anytime, they will stand up and walk away. COVID had another impact. They were at home, generally unattended because parents were working from home. Or
Right.
even if attention was given, it was not a group attention. Here they are being taught to live in a society with
Right.
a larger number of people where sharing and caring has to be a part of the system. Otherwise, you will not survive. So that sharing together, caring together, eating together, all these are challenges which we are facing in the junior section. Hence, we started with the silence period where it was through a game. So we realized that the first thing is we need to catch their attention.
Right.
And for that, first they need to be physically still.
Yeah.
Then they need to be still at the level of their tongue. They need to learn to listen. Then they need to be still at the level of their mind. That gradually brings them up for my class. So this is another challenge that we face.
Ma'am, I think you're doing it in a very scientific way also, ma'am.
So
Thank you
that's
so much.
how.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my last question is,
Mhm.
Dr. Namita, as a founder, you have had the unique opportunity to shape every aspect of school's culture. What guiding principles or philosophies have you instilled that continue to drive Queens Valley School's success?
See, there's a person who comes from Gujarat. He lived in 1920s.
Okay.
His name is Giju Bhai Badeka.
Yeah.
He in those days studied Montessori system. He was a lawyer by profession and came up with a book or a philosophy called the Divya Swapna. That is, while I'm awake, I dream. So
Okay.
the philosophy that he brought up is very relevant to the 21st century. And it is beautiful that it is applicable. So I follow his philosophy to some extent. And the ethos, or I told you earlier that my main aim is to create citizens who are sarvagun sampann. That is, who are holistic and successful in the society. They do not have a fallback or they do not have to look back at being socially irrelevant, not being very positive human beings. Rather, they are positive, they are complete, they have the right skills, they have all the basic life skills, and they are able to mix up and merge into the society outside, and they become so independent after experimenting everything within the school premises that they do not get a cultural shock once they go into college. So
Wow.
that transition is one thing which we have successfully been able to do, because I have children with me who were there, who came to me in nursery. And luckily for them as well as for me, I have seen all those children and all the generations which are passing through my hands. They were admitted with me and have moved out. Today, I can proudly say that we started in 2007. And I, with a staff of 10 teachers, started the whole thing. We had a strength of 17, and we are almost 3,000 now.
My God.
So, and the entire system from a single bench to a philosophy and to a thought was developed by my team, with I getting the opportunity of leading that.
Wow.
So I've gone through all the transitions which have been done at the CBSE level, at the national level, at the international level, and also lived through the COVID thing, wherein I belong to a generation with my teachers who, most of us, had never studied even computers at school.
Right.
And we equipped ourselves. School gave us that opportunity. We became tech savvy, but it was during COVID that we became really par excellent. And now I can proudly say that we can stand parallel to our 21st century generation also.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I think COVID really helped us. In fact, ma'am, our television, we didn't have a very high viewership. Because of COVID, we crossed million eyes, ma'am, across 28 countries. The digital literacy increased. In fact, I would like to have one more program with you on transition of students from schools to universities also, as you mentioned in your this just now, like the transition from schools when they go to university, because there is a huge gap between schools and universities in terms of culture, in the way of working, freedom, so many things. I've definitely.
The kind of exposure they need to be given in the school
Yes.
only before they enter the world outside.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very much. That is required. Thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Namita, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. Your journey as the founder principal of Queen's Valley School, Dwarka, New Delhi, India, is truly inspiring. And your insights in education, innovation, and leadership resonate deeply with all of us. The way you, ma'am, just mentioned Ijubhai, then Sargun Sampan. Ma'am, that gives very a broader picture about your school also, ma'am, how you are preparing the youngsters. Thank you for sharing your vision, experiences, and valuable guidance also, ma'am. We are certain that your story will continue to motivate educators and leaders to strive for excellence. And ma'am, last small answer I need is your message to the passing out 12th graders in 2025, ma'am.
Happiness is a choice, and always remember that humility and humbleness is one small tool and one small jewel which would take you far, far ahead. Because if you are humble, you are at the receptive end, and you are receptive to all the knowledge that is being given. The moment you are proud of what you are, see, being proud and being egoistic are two different things. So if you are able to maintain that balance and enter the world with a balance at your mental level and at all the levels, I think you can fight the world, or you can conquer the world.